Hey, Eric Liebenhagen here, and you're watching the Abundant O.D series where we highlight successful optometrists who are working to make a positive difference in the world and contribute to the greater good. In our episodes, we get to know the people behind the title, what makes them tick, and the mission that they're working to serve. You know, they say hindsight is 20/20, and by listening to and learning from others' victories and mistakes, you can speed up your own journey and live as an abundant OD. Today, I'm excited to have with me Dr. Brianna Rhue, as an optometrist with West Broward Eye Care Associates. She's also an entrepreneur and co-founder of two businesses that support the profession, Techify and Dr. Contact Lens, and maybe we'll learn a little bit more about those. She urges you, if you haven't heard or tried out Dr. Contact Lens yet, to go schedule a free demo on their website, drcontactlens.com. That's drcontactlens.com. Brianna, thanks for coming aboard and spending some time with us today.
Excited to be here, Eric.
Oh, that's awesome. So lead us off and just tell us a little bit about, your background and how you really found yourself in this profession.
Yeah, so I think I found optometry at a really young age, actually in second grade. My dad had two friends that were very successful optometrists, and I always saw myself as being a doctor, but not really wanting to go to the surgical route, and fell in love with the business side and really how they both ran their businesses very successfully. Then coming from my mom and dad having a furniture business and learning that small business side and really seeing my dad get to live the way he wanted to live as an entrepreneur. The ups and the downs with that all comes with that, working Saturdays, working Sundays, working all hours of the night, worrying about payroll, worrying about rent, buying a building, and then now seeing that all come to fruition for them and really kind of all mesh together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So that's great. That may be, I always kind of feel like I was fortunate as well. It sounds like you are as well, to be able to find a profession that you can fall in love with at such an early age or stage of your life, right? And to have that actually work out for you as you got older and actually into it, right? Because there's so many people that either get out of high school or a lot of times even college, not sure what they want to do. And I've talked to a number of optometrists, even on this show, that that optometry wasn't like their first finding or their first love, right? It's like they got into it in a different way. But yeah, so much like you. Now, I wasn't quite as young as you. I'd say 10th grade is when I found accounting and everything that goes along with that and being a CPA. But no, that's wonderful. And to have such a strong influence with that, with your family, your father, and everything else is just fantastic. So now that you're into it and you've been practicing for a while, I mean, what is the mission that you're looking to serve? I mean, what kind of change do you want to make in the world through your service? It could be through your community or your industry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it has kind of changed over the years. I had incredible mentors through my early days in optometry school, even before that, then into my residency and even beyond that. So I've really been a person that is a door opener. I am a big extrovert, learned that again from my father, where you could walk into a room not knowing anybody and walk out not knowing anybody, or walk in not knowing anybody and walk out knowing everybody. And that's just kind of how I always have carried myself. And you never know who you're going to need on the way up or the way down. And I've been a huge advocate for that. So going into really how I found my, private practice was through that word of mouth and going in and working really hard. And, I've always had that intense work ethic that, again, I think came from me seeing what my parents were going through and kind of that through osmosis coming out. So when I went into my private practice, was really kind of always saw myself as being somebody that I wanted other people to look up to, but not put on a pedestal necessarily, just to really know that it takes an army and it to get to where anybody is. And optometry is really small. I learned that at, again, a really young age. And then my purpose evolved. So really that private practice, thriving there, but then seeing the industry really change. 2015 was kind of in that burnout phase, right? Of how am I going to do this? You know, people are asking for their prescriptions. Online was coming really hard at us. There's got to be a better way, right? That's how Dr. Contact Lens was born. So I always had people around me. I have, 5, 6, 7 people I can call on my way to work in the morning, just bounce ideas off of each other. Some of them are local, some of them are cross country. That's how, again, Dr. Contact Lens came. Jen and I, both opposite coasts. Hey, let's build an app where our patients can order from us. Well, this should be easy, right? Both had no idea that we were actually building a technology company. And then here we are 5.5, 6 years later with hundreds of clients that are using Dr. Contact Lens successfully. So then really stepping back from that, during COVID, we absolutely took off. This went from being a sale of, oh, I don't really need online ordering. My patients are still calling me, to, oh my gosh, I'm being eaten for lunch and maybe I do need this. So seeing that hyper growth and being part of that was really exciting. And then one thing now where my passion has really come and why Techify was born is ODs and optometrists, we're at the center of this industry. And you being a data guy, you know what all of us are sitting on. We're sitting on these little gold mines. And with what Dr. Contact Lens is capable of doing, I've bridged that gap of being, I was always really excited to see any form of a sales rep in my office. I would always give them 2 minutes, 5 minutes, a lunch or whatever, because I knew they were going to 7, 8 other offices just that day, right? These people know who's moving. These people know the industry. They know what's coming, and they're a huge asset. So now I've bridged that gap and become this salesperson, right? Where I have a booth and I have to sell to optometrists. And now it's bridging that and seeing behind the curtain of industry. That's now where Techify was really born, of saying, okay, we're going to all these conferences. You as an OD, you're walking into this big hall. You don't know who to talk to. Everybody's trying to pull you into their booth with your badge, right? Try to sell you something. And there's 300 other people trying to do it. But you have to go in with a clear mission of what you're doing. And Jen and I, now being salespeople, trying to get people to sign up for Dr. Contact Lens, it was really heart-wrenching that people weren't really listening. And then you're spending all of this money to go to these conferences to really not get anywhere. And then Techify was born because it kind of became this entrepreneur technology cool kids club where it was really a therapy session for all of us as startup companies on how we were going to move forward and get ODs out of their own way. Mm-hmm. And that's where that movement for Techify was started. So it's kind of been that mission to, I want ODs to know what they have, and I want them to take action, and I want them to run their businesses. I don't want their front desk. Yes, they're a part of it. Their office managers are part of it, but they shouldn't be the ones driving your yes or no. You, at the end of the day, need to make an educated decision. So that was kind of long-winded, but no, it all comes to fruition.
And would you say like that? So there's definitely like, as in any new venture where you're doing something a bit different than what was already out there in the industry, there's, we feel this too, right? There's always this, education process of getting people to really recognize what it is you're trying to help them with before, so that they know or realize they need it, or at least can make an informed decision about it. Right. That's where we want to get everybody to. It's like, use this or not, but at least know what you're, saying yes or no to. And like I said, being informed. Would you say that's been one of like the tougher or toughest challenges in bringing some of these ideas into reality?
Yeah, it has been. And I think that a lot of optometrists, it's not hard to make a lot of money as an optometrist, but you can go from here to here exponentially if you just do something 1% better than what you were doing. When it comes to contact lens ordering, for instance, doing it the way that it's always been done with a 28-step process, taking someone's time for 6 to 8 minutes to ship a box back to your office and not to the patient, we're tripping over hundreds of thousands of dollars to pick up $5.99, $7.99 for shipping. Ship that to the patient. This box is no different than what is delivered via Amazon, right? This is not a Facebook fad. This is not an Instagram fad, right? Where we're all a little hesitant that patients want this type of service. They do, and they're asking you for it, except you're not giving it to them. So I've seen a lot of my colleagues give up on contact lens sales, right? And it really concerns me because that's your bread and butter of your practice. Yeah, it's not a high margin thing like a pair of glasses, but it's your high margin patients. Those are the ones that you're going to sell dry eye treatments to. Those are the ones you're going to sell myopia treatment to. Those are the ones that you're going to sell aesthetics to. And it's not just one patient. One patient walking out of your door, if you see 15 patients a day, 4 days a week, take a 2-week vacation, and 30% of that practice is contact lenses, right? And 20% of those walk out of the door, you're literally letting $50,000 walk out of your door. So that's what we help doctors employ, is really a process and a platform, because it all comes down to process. So I know there's a lot of frustration with staff turnover, but that's where a process is significant in where we are in the environment.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I can't even add more to that. That's so true. So such a great point about process, right? What as you've been developing over your career, what's been a victory or success that's been probably the most meaningful to you?
So I've gotten the opportunity to break down a lot of doors in the industry. There's a lot of people that are very status quo, including EMR companies, including distributors, including big retailers, right? Where they know what they have and they don't want anybody to see behind the curtain. I'm one that never hears the word no. It's just a not right now. And people need to join Team Brianna a little quicker, and then we can obviously speed that up. I'm probably sure you feel the same way. But I was looking back at a pitch from early 2020 of where we were on just integrations, where we were as a company. We were still really, really new at Dr. Contact Lens, to where we are fast forward here almost 2.5, 3 years. And I had a slide where I had all the stuff that we wanted to do on the bottom and where we had built. And I was redoing the slide and things were just going up above the line. It was like, move, move, move. And it got really exciting because I think as ODs, we get into our dark rooms, we get into saying 1 or 2 every day, and you don't see these little wins. And the little wins are what add up to a big victory and a big celebration. And so I was able to kind of reflect and pinch myself for a second of saying, I know there's a lot of muck, right? We're in that third valley of death as an entrepreneur. We can talk about that for a second. But now seeing where we were, I was able to have some excitement versus that day-to-day, or that office that's not seeing success, or the offices that are seeing success. Because I think you can get into the muck of that bad review, or this person quitting, or this patient's not happy, or there's an RX check on your schedule, and then payrolls due, right? We all get in it. And I think it's really important to celebrate little wins.
For sure. We talk about that all the time as well, right? It's like, so I couldn't agree more. It's like, I forget what exactly the saying is, but it's like, success is small, consistent actions taken over a long period of time, right? And getting those, and yeah, there's going to be some, like you were saying, the muck or some losses along the way. But as long as you stack more wins than losses long term and don't allow yourself to get dragged down by these setbacks, they can all be overcome. That's what we've learned over 15 plus years dealing with small business owners. And I'm sure you've learned the same as well. So that's fantastic. You've dropped so many great little pieces of advice and nuggets of wisdom here throughout our time together. I really appreciate it. In summation of all that, if you had to give or just end with one piece of advice, it could be something you've already said, or maybe it's something different, but one piece of advice you'd give to others who are on their journey as well, what would that be?
Be a part of the industry, be a part of the future. Change is inevitable. It's the only thing that we're doing, right? As 1 second has passed, many seconds on this podcast, right? We are not the same that we were a second ago. So optometry is not going to be the same that it's always been. And it's in our hands to be the driver of that. And that comes to making a call to your EMR and saying you want an integration, pushing them forward. They employ, you employ them. It's not the other way around. And data is big right now. There's so much sitting in our little gold mines. Be the one to go activate it. Be the one to go mine it. You can give your data to other people, but they should be paying a lot for that. And if you're not paying for a service and you're falling for free, a lot of the times, maybe you think people owe you something, which they don't. Maybe that's why you signed up for something that was free. But really look at what they're doing and look at what your value is, which is your patient information and you as an OD owner. So activate that, because that's where you're going to, someone's going to come in and give you 5, 6, 7 times EBITDA. There's a reason, right? They're going to come in, they're going to put in some processes, and now they're mining your gold. So that's all for you. Find an associate, get them activated as well. Give them some skin in the game, like Dr. Garmizo did with me, and learn how to be accountable and delegate and move things through the path. You will be very surprised if you don't do everything yourself. So kind of all that sums it all up. I know there were little tidbits in there, but
yeah, no, that's great. And at the very beginning of that, it kind of latched on to, man, it was all great. Latched on to change is inevitable, be a part of that. I'm definitely not the same as I was 10 or 15 minutes ago. I've learned a ton from you today, and hopefully you out there listening have as well, and found this to be a really great use of your time. Brianna, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you, Eric, for having me.